And good morning. We're off to the races on a Wednesday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. 74. We'll get to a high, it doesn't sound all that bad, of about 89 today. We do have a 70% chance of rain, so be prepared for that. And south of Meridian could be some flash flooding, the Laurel, Mississippi area, a little bit closer to us there, closer to Clark County, but we'll look at all of that here in just a moment to get your day prepared. Another item to be concerned with is the possibility of some fog this morning. We've got several counties this morning as we're waking up that are under a fog advisory. And let's pull this up and show you where the fog is and where their advisory is. As we pull this up and we go to Meridian Honda radar, we'll see that we got all of this from Lauderdale, Clark, straight through Newton, Jasper, all this area back to Jackson, down to Macomb. But Hattiesburg so far picking up where the fog is. Now, I do expect this to pick up as the morning goes along, and this will carry on through about 9 o'clock this morning. So be careful. I'm sure that radar isn't picking up everything that's out there. It has a tendency to have that low-lying fog that sometimes radar doesn't pick up. We know how that is when it comes to tornadoes and things. Sometimes it's just a little lower than radar will grab sometimes. So keep it in mind in your schedule today. It is hump day, middle of the week. At 8 o'clock this morning, we'll have a special guest. I've heard her speak at church, and she'll be by to tell us a little bit more. Sarah Smith will be here from the Center for Pregnancy Choices to talk a little bit this morning. She goes from church to church in the area, and they do a lot of good things. We'll see what's on the agenda for them this week, and she'll be joining us a little bit after 8 o'clock. I hope you will, too. See so many of you up. Robin Sullivan, how are you? Janice Bounds, Terry Ray. Elmer is up. Miss Irene, how are you this morning? Glad to see you there. Whew, I feel good. All right, let's start talking about a few things that are going on in the neighborhood that has affected us. National news made for the state of Mississippi. Of course, we've all heard of Glenn Beck before. You may not watch his show every day or anything, but he ran a story this morning about a kitty cat. You think, well, what's special about a cat? Well, you don't normally hear of the cat kind of protecting the house. It's usually the dog that alerts the homeowner when somebody's trying to break in. But this happened, it was an hour and a half north of Jackson up in the Mississippi Delta. Had a gentleman there that was woke up in the middle of the night by his cat that jumped on his bed, squealing, squalling. Wouldn't let him alone, and he got up, and of course there was two intruders trying to break in the house. He got his gun, protected his own, and they ran off. But he contributes it to the cat. Maybe you've got a cat that does that. Whatever it is that you have, whether it's a dog, a kitty cat, they're always great company, and they do get to know you, and when someone is not supposed to be there, they will let people know. So if you live alone, and you don't have any companions, I highly suggest that. Cat, dog, whatever the case is, do that. Make you mighty happy. Yesterday morning, we had an issue in town, and let me pull this up where you can see exactly where this went on. As we look at the map, let's pull up the map, and let me hit one more button. I'm always having to hit one more button, aren't I? It's a bad habit. As we go to this, here's the map of the Meridian area. This is going to be Highway 39. Maybe it looks familiar. Here's where Walmart is. This would be 33rd Street. There was a large police presence in this area from 10th Avenue. I'd say in this circle like this. Why? It was gunshots fired yesterday. A car was hit, and it was more or less a foot chase as Meridian police followed. They would get their man at the end. They would release a canine, and, well, he would cut the distance as we look at this. As we look at that, he did make his ground, and they caught the bad guy. He was arrested. Now, I have not gotten word this morning as to why the shots were fired, what was going on with the situation. We'll talk more with the Meridian Police Department today and get some behind-the-scenes details of that. The shots were fired. No one was injured. That is the good thing to that story. Let's see what we did have. I did have reports, the 2500 block of 45th Avenue overnight, some gunshots fired. Now, as of right now, I don't know of any damage, but sometimes that changes as daylight breaks and we find out more about things. Also this morning, if you're in this area, and let me just show this on a map as we keep talking about areas of people that will want to take things that aren't theirs and go through your cars. We are learning that the bandits were out this morning in this area here. This would be where the Northeast Conference, Hilton Garden, and this area here. If you live in this area here, they were going from car to car in the wee hours of the morning. Security got after them in that area there of breaking into cars. No word yet on if they got much, but If you were in that area, the wee hours of the morning, check your car, especially if you're watching from a hotel room. Check your stuff. Make sure nothing is missing today. As we go across, let's see, this would affect Lake Ross Collins. How many folks out there watch? Been there many a time. They got a bridge that they're working on, or maybe it's a culvert is a better word for it. As we pull this up for you to take a look, this is Lake Ross Collins, Lauderdale County Road and Bridge. It says that a portion of the circle is down for repairs as they put in a new cross drain. Go in a different way. If you were to live there in that house there, you got to go all the way around. It'll be a little inconvenient for a few days, but in the end, it'll be better as repairs are made and fixed. That's the good news on that. Now, we'll talk more about this morning. I understand the argument in Jackson. I don't know the answer to this, but as we all know, when people do wrong things and the police get after them, the police have to pursue. You can't just turn the blue lights off, and if they steal something, go, oh, well, they made it to the car, the chase is over. We all know the horrible accident that happened in Jackson where the postal worker was killed by a guy that was being chased by police. It was not the police's fault of what happened. It was the bad guy. At the end of the day, that's who did this. We cannot change the blame of who did what. But the city council and the mayor in Jackson are wanting to more or less recreate the rules of how police can chase. Now, we already have a city that is ridden with crime. Murders are at an all-time high in Jackson. They haven't released as to what they really want to do, but if you cut out police being able to pursue, it's not going to be good. It will make a city that's already unsafe that much worse. Just small thoughts. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up at 8 o'clock. Concerns me. We also looked at Jackson, Mississippi, and we don't have details on this. But something went on as we look at this, as the undersheriff, Alan White, with the sheriff's department in Jackson area, has been demoted to the rank of sergeant in Hinds County. They do not say why. He's been demoted, and he won't be paid for a week. Sounds serious, but we have no details on it. They have not released that information. It doesn't sound like power outages are happening, but we have officially switched over to that this morning. I'm not showing any, just hadn't hit the map yet. So, you could be in the dark as we begin this. Still showing that we're live and still going. Okay, thumbs up. All right, let's take a look around at other things that are going on. As we go to, again, as we talk about different things, Jackson's going to be another part of this subject. As we have this nationwide, we have it in Meridian, we have it in every town, I guess, of the shortage of police officers. As we all know, over the last year and a half, it just hadn't been the career choice for a lot of people. Jackson police are listing safety tips. Now, apparently, it's been real bad in Jackson, Mississippi. In a 2-day period, I think they had 20 carjackings. 20. Now, it does happen here, not as often as it does in Jackson, Mississippi, but as you get into this, I saw a guy that done a video, and for the life of me, I think his name was Clay, possibly Clay Edwards out of Jackson. He's in radio or TV. I don't have his name right in front of me, but I watched his video, and he made the comment about the 20 cars being stolen. Carjacked is the term. And as you dig into this, what they're doing is they'll ram your car in Jackson. You get out to see what happened, and then they just, 2 or 3 of them jump out of the car and take your car because the keys are still in it. And the Jackson Police Department is urging you not to do that. Don't pull over if you get bumped. Drive to a well-lit area. His point on his video was saying it's so bad that the police are telling you to keep going after an accident, that they're afraid. He was pointing out that the lack of officers and how high the crime is in Jackson. I don't care who you are, where you are, that is good advice of making sure you're in a well-lit area. Especially if you're a lady alone, somebody bumps your car. Probably not smart to stop at a stop sign where there's no lighting, no nothing. And we'll talk more about what the Jackson Police Department gave as tips, as crime is at an all-time high there. If you travel that area, maybe you're watching from Jackson, Mississippi, y'all be careful there. Said who got demoted. The power blinked about that time. Hinds County Sheriff's Department, the undersheriff got demoted. They didn't give a reason as to why he got demoted, and he was cut without pay for a week. They're not telling. Sad news as we look at the Brandon area, just west of here. A high school football player has died. Now, it was during football practice. Temperatures were in the 90s, but we're assuming that it had, and assuming sometimes all gets us in trouble, doesn't it? But we're assuming an autopsy has been ordered, that it was some type of heat exhaustion. I think there's been, I saw mention that there had been 2 other players. Brandon is the only one I know for sure. But how horrible is that? As school season starts, and y'all watch this, heat exhaustion is real. It can hurt you. As we look around, Macon police, they've been looking for a guy that was involved in 2 or 3 shootings. He finally turned himself in. He walked in and turned himself over. He's on a $200,000 bond. Jaquarius Wells turned himself in. A lot of things been happening in that Macon area lately. I know a bunch of you watch as we go from Scuba on up toward that Macon area there. Sad news in Hancock County, and the more we read about this, it looks as though the person could have been walking. I don't know for sure, but the coroner has identified 32-year-old Ryan Moran. He was hit by a train earlier this week. That's actually was yesterday afternoon. Lost his life. We pass along condolences to that family. Again, that's Hancock County is where that went on. We did lose 2 teenagers in an accident in the state of Mississippi also. Madison County, a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. They wrecked. They were not wearing seat belts. Condolences go to their family this morning. A child can never be replaced. We don't know the circumstances for what caused the wreck, but that's a toughie there. Their life is affected from this moment on, as each of you either know someone or have personally been affected by something like this in your household. I want to talk more about this morning at 8 as Candace comes in. This gets a little bit more eerier, and really the only news outlet in the state of Mississippi that is pounding on this is Mississippi Today. It's almost they're the only ones that want to get the real news out there. And we're talking about the welfare scandal. They broke the story, and they continually put something out about it. They've come up with a list of what they call 7 baffling things about it. The welfare fraud. And it is baffling. We're going to talk about this morning at 8 o'clock. I hope you'll join us as we get into some tougher topics there. It does make you go, huh. We'll read some of these. And again, that's at Mississippi Today. Pretty straightforward as to what's going on there. Here's something that, as we can all say, that God possibly had his hand in as we go to Alabama. This is one of those just shocking things. A 12-year-old girl was kidnapped. She was able to chew her restraints with her teeth and get free. She'd be walking down the edge of a road, and a lady come along and picked her up. She notified police. They caught one of the bad guys, and they have found 2 bodies in the home where she escaped from. This is in the Auburn area over in Alabama. Rural Alabama is the way they're discovering this. They've arrested one, charged him with kidnapping, and it's probably going to be some more charges. We don't know who the bodies were that they found. Can you imagine 12 years old being kidnapped and in a situation like that? Thank goodness she escaped. That is the good news, is God has his hands in certain things. The man accused of killing the Ole Miss student, his initial hearing has been rescheduled till the 9th of this month, a few days from now. Again, no body. They're not giving details on this, but it must be some strong evidence with this. As he's being charged, his lawyer still says that he'll be set free, that he hasn't done anything. We'll watch this closely. Again, no body and no details have been said anything, but they're convinced that he's passed away. We look to what happened in the polls yesterday. Y'all been keeping up with this? All this going on with as Trump has not announced that he's going to run, but the candidates, it was 10 of them, and most are being taken away one by one, those that voted to impeach. Do y'all remember that? Or maybe or to investigate. Maybe that's the word for it. It was 10 of them that done that. I think that's the word for it. But John Gibbs defeated Peter in Michigan. And I'm going to probably say this young man's name wrong. Major? Maybe that's how you pronounce it. I didn't go to high school with anybody named that. That's why I can't pronounce it. But he has been defeated, and now Trump's man will face a Democrat in the fall. We'll see who wins that. But another one taken out, and it's been many. I think that I only can think of one that didn't get voted out. As we talked about Sarah Smith coming in today, this is one of those things that's hot and heavy, just a hot button in the United States right now. And this is all about abortion. Biden will sign an executive order today making it easier for women seeking abortions to travel between states for the procedure. He's going to sign that into law. Kansas voters reject a constitutional amendment granting lawmakers the ability to regulate abortion. They voted against that. That's the state of Kansas. That's the very first state to do that. Again, what happened in the Supreme Court, let me remind everybody, it just gave the states the right to choose the way they wanted to handle it. That's all the Supreme Court did. I know there's been a lot of jumping up and down and this, that, and the other, but that's actually what the Supreme Court did. DeSantis, he's turned down an invitation. Why? Well, he didn't want to go. He got an invitation to come on The View, and he said, thanks, but no thank you. I won't be joining y'all. Can't hardly blame him, can you? I don't think I would fit in there either, but that's Ron DeSantis. Whew. Already 10 minutes, 12 minutes actually before the top of the hour. We've got your forecast coming up as we go through some of the events and things that are happening across our state and nation to get your day started so you'll know exactly what's happening. We'll check that forecast next. It's all on the way as we begin our early Wednesday, isn't it? Times are flying as we get today started. We'll be right back with more.
The Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville has these great savings this week. Fresh peaches, $1.99 a pound. Large tomatoes, $1.79 a pound. Red, yellow, or orange bell peppers, 2 for $3. Fresh plums, $2.99 each. Vidalia onions, a 3-pound bag, $3.99. Coca-Cola 12-pack, 12-ounce cans, 2 for $11. And certified Angus beef top sirloin, $5.99 a pound.
And we're down home, down the street, Piggly Wiggly.
Spring is here, and it's time to quit spending all of your weekend cutting grass when you could step up to a Skag zero-turn mower. Freeman Tractor in Collinsville has the #1 rated zero-turn mower, Skag, with cutting widths from 36 inches to 72 inches. Skag, the #1 choice of professional landscapers because they know nothing outcuts or outlasts a Skag. 0% financing for 48 months with payments starting as low as $129 a month. Stop by Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 and see coleslaw or buttermilk.
Y'all be prepared. It's going to be a lot of people in the West Lauderdale area that shows up without makeup, without having that picture-perfect look today. As we go back to look at this, as we had that interruption a moment ago and we switched over to generator, and we're running off that right now this morning. As we pull this up for you to take a look, this is what we're seeing from EMEPA. There's somewhere around 553 people. That's 2 people just west of DeKalb, but 553 in the Bailey-Collinsville area here. As we'll look at this, all up Highway 495. Look at this. That's a heap of folks. So if you live in any of this area here, as we go to King Road, Windsor Road, look at that. This goes up, and we'll go down 495 without power. All of this area, that even looks like, what is that, Bunton Gun Road? Blind Brown Road. You don't have power. AC Brown, as we get in here to Brown Hook, and we get over here to Fellowship Road without power. As we, what is this, Blizzard Road as well. All of these areas here, on up Gumlog, Center Hill, Martin, all the way up 495. In these areas, we have no power. We'll be in touch with the EMEPA here in a moment and take a look and see here. And let's look at the list here we've got here. And it is showing 556 people in Lauderdale County now without power this morning. We don't know the cause of it. Sometimes it's a tree. Sometimes it's a little bit more serious as to what happened. We'll find out about that. Let me just send a text and see what we can find out of what the issue is this morning. And if you'll notice, I can't type and talk and text, can I? Whoops. It's my old brain. It doesn't work as good the older I get. All right, let's get into the radar this morning and take a look at what we've got showing now. Take a look at that, and then we'll get deeper into the forecast. As we mentioned earlier this morning, fog is growing. The closer as we get to daylight and all, the more this is getting heavier and thicker. As we go back and pull this up, here's what we got on radar this morning. Down around Purvis, it's thick. Over here by Summerall, Ellisville, Laurel starting to creep up. And all of this area here from Jasper County, Clark County, and Lauderdale County under, as you'll see here, a dense fog advisory through 10 a.m. this morning. Keep it in mind as you plan your day that you could have some issues with that. As we look over here to Alabaster, Alabama, some chances of that also with fog there. Now, as we look at this, we've got a bunch of this heat, northwest Mississippi. The Mississippi Delta is under this, as we have a heat advisory there. The Meridian side is going to be 99 or less is what we're looking at on the heat index side. This area here, 105 is what they'll be getting. As we back out and look around this, a lot of fog up through the Carolinas. Look at that, Charleston, West Virginia. And we do have a bunch of rain here off the coast here as we go down to Louisiana, Houma, Louisiana, right off of there, New Iberia, these areas here, a lot of this. Now, we got a 70% chance of getting wet. So as you begin your day, make sure to carry you an umbrella with you as we'll watch this forecast as to what is going to be. Also getting a word there from Amanda that no power on Jimmy Smith Road also. Bailey, no power. Boy, Jimmy Smith Road's getting it there. 495, I'm getting a lot of that. Power out on Blizzard Road, Pine Springs. I'll be careful there. Collinsville, Raven, I think you're without power also as we do this. So that's where we are on the power. We sent a text over to EMPA, and hopefully we'll get an answer back on that here in just a moment to find out some behind the scenes. If not, we'll post that as to what the reason is. All right, let's get into the forecast this morning and see what all we have to look forward to with the weather today.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we get into our record highs, record lows, back in 2010, can you believe that's been 12 years ago? It was 102 on this date. Back in 65, same thing as we had yesterday, was 60 degrees for an all-time low. That's been quite a few years ago. As we look at the outlook for today, we've got that heavier rain. And again, we'll look at this in a moment from the National Weather Service. Could be some flash flooding in the Hattiesburg area here south, Clark County, these areas, just west of Clark actually. But we do have a 70% chance of rain through here all the way up through Philadelphia, up toward to Mississippi State area. Heaviest of rain, though, again, will be south of Meridian as we look at this. Now, Birmingham side, as we go to Alabama and we go to Livingston there, about 90 today is expected there, but rain chances there as well. As we come down, this is what we've got with fog. As we look at this, this is actually heat stress. That's written wrong. Whoops. Our heat stress, again, still lying to our west as we look at this across the Mississippi Delta, 105 plus in those areas there. Now, as we look into the heat stress, I just had that all wrong. This is the areas of dense fog this morning. We've got it there. You'll see there the fog will lie south of Meridian, right there at the I-20 line, and then south back into Clark counties where this fog will be the thickest. So this will happen between 9 to 10 a.m. They changed it originally at 5 a.m. They had this at 9 o'clock, and they've now changed that till 10. Something to keep in mind. Now, the flash flooding, I actually typed that up right. It must have been really early when I made those mistakes. The flash flooding is going to be that Laurel McGee area from 9 a.m. this morning till 9 p.m. They got a big window on that. We're going to get rain in the Meridian area, but to the south, southwest of Meridian, worse, Brookhaven, Hattiesburg, Laurel area. Now, don't think that it's not going to be heavy from time to time. But in this area, they're looking for 3 to 4 inches of rain possible within an hour. That's a lot of rain at one time. Can cause that flooding, and as we've seen what's been going on in Kentucky, we're up to, if I'm not mistaken, 37 lives that have been lost in Kentucky. It's 36 to 37. Horrible, horrible. As we look at that. All right, we just got a, EMEPA says they have a serviceman riding right now to locate the problem that has happened out in the West Lauderdale area. So EMEPA's on it. They've got people dispatched. They're looking at that now to find out what it is. As we go back to see what the temperatures are, next 6 to 10 days, there you go, still hot. We got that little bit of a cool wave that will make its way. Now, none of us are complaining about the 89-degree weather that we have today, but it's still warm. It's not gone away just yet. Let's look at our 7-day forecast. This is what is predicted. Again, 70% chance of rain today. Our high will reach roughly 88 to 89, depending upon where you are. As we get into these nighttime temperatures tonight, 30% chance of rain. It'll back off a little bit there, low around 72. By tomorrow, still there, 60% chance of rain, and we'll get a few degrees higher. Most likely tomorrow the showers will hit late in the afternoon. By Friday, it takes a big dip in the chances of rain. 30% chance there. That's what we're showing here. This could change. The National Weather Service is giving it a little bit more at this point. They're calling it a 50%. My radar system calling it a 30%. It can go either way. But there are rain chances on Friday. As we move into Saturday, backing down to a 30% chance of showers. And then Sunday, those rain chances creep back up, 60 and 50% as we begin the week, with a 40% all the way toward Tuesday. And again, for the next 2 weeks, there's rain in the forecast just about every day. Look at that, those percentage chances. At least 30% on most days, higher in others. Highs will remain right at that 90-degree mark. So the rain is keeping it cooler than it could be as we watch all of this. I just got a note. We have a wreck, I-20, mile marker 156. We don't have the details of that yet, but again, if you're going to be traveling I-20, I don't know how bad it is, but mile marker 156 on the interstate as we look at that, and that would be in between the exits in Meridian. As we'll look at that. We hope everybody's okay as we dig into that. And I was going to see here. I got a trusty, and when you're trying to find these mile markers, it's hard to know where everyone is. You start in Meridian at 150, exit 150 there for the airport exit. And then as you move along I-20, it goes up. Let me get this where I can see this a little bit better. That's going to put this 157 is going to be right here as you get, right past the Jimmy Rogers Parkway is where that will be. This will be near where you'd get on to, it's an app that's got all that on it. Neat, if you ever wanted to know where it is. That's going to be toward your Macon, Mississippi exit, where you'd get off to wind to go toward Marion. That's where that is. So we got an accident there this morning. Let's look at what we've got with the Tropics. We absolutely have nothing here when it comes to hurricanes this week. This is good news. Nothing happening in the Gulf or the Atlantic as we look for the next 5 days. We have had a very mild season. Now, if you remember back, forecasters said that we could have up to, 17 storms? I'm afraid when that kicks off, it could get nasty. But so far, we've been blessed. As we go to our fishing times today, let's pull this up. Best times to fish? August the 3rd. Can you believe that? One of the first major times was this morning, going on right now through about 7. So you got 2 minutes left on that. Whoops. Second major time will be this afternoon, right around 6 until dark 30, till about 8. Will be a good time to get out. Brought to you by Chet's Paint and Body, where they urge you to get out and do a little fishing there. Now, again, we're coming back in an hour and 1 minute from now as we'll get the morning show riled up and rolling as we get ready for Wednesday. Candace will come in. Has it been said, Collinsville out of power. Let's go back before we cut off and let me look at this, make sure we hadn't had some more increases. Let me go here and pull this up. Let me go across and get my map and refresh it just to make sure what we've got. Yeah, we've had more go without power now. We're up to 700. Let's pull this up where everybody can see. This is our outage map. And I just got a message here. We've located a down line and have crews on it. Okay, so they know what the problem is. So most likely a tree or something happened on this. Let's go in on this. If you're sitting without power this morning, this is the area here. All through here, starting at Bailey, running up. And you've got this here now sitting at 704 people without power. It's a heap of you. Again, it's going to be some not so perfect hair, but they're working to restore this quickly. And we'll be back in touch with the MEPA as we go. I may have just switched. I was trying to hear. It takes, when the generator turns on and off, it takes it about 30 seconds. When the power comes back on, it usually takes it about 30 seconds for the generator to turn off. It winds down. I still hear it, so it may have just been a blink, an overload. Sometimes when you have 3 or 4 air conditioners turn on at once, you'll get a little bit of a blink in your generator. And again, If you're looking for generators, we can tell you all about that. Booker Electric will help you as well. If you're looking for one and want it to where seamlessly, as you saw just a moment ago as we were live, how power cuts off, they can take care of you there. Tell you all about it. And at most you would have would be 30 seconds. And then I've got battery backups to cover that with what we do. Anyway, I'm using my hands way too much. Power hopefully to be restored shortly. We'll see you soon. And we certainly hope you have a wonderful day. We'll be back in 1 hour from now. Thank y'all for coming by and spending a little bit of time with us this morning as we get your day started here, the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: